Many people think they can't be hypnotized.
Can hypnosis really be effective, even if you think you are not in trance?
Keep watching to find out. I'm Juliana.
I'm DC.
And as board-certified hypnotist, we have the privilege of helping you change your mind to change your life.
That's right.
And today's episode will be focused on some of DC's earliest experiences with hypnosis.
That is also right.
So, before we get into the meat of this podcast, let us acknowledge that it was not easy for us to decide to record a podcast today because we did not feel like it.
No, we did not. And the thing is, we enjoy doing this, so we had to actually kind of dive into why we did not feel like it.
Yes.
And one was I needed like just a brief nap. I just needed to rest. But another one we both realized we had in common.
We honestly felt like it was too much effort to put on makeup and get all dressed up and put in the effort that we normally would to get on screen and talk.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't call what I do getting dressed up, but so it wasn't even the clothing part. For me, it was all the makeup. And the thing is, I don't even put on that much makeup, but I just did not feel like putting on makeup. And then we were like, why don't we just do it without putting on makeup? So I took a little nap and here we are.
Yeah. Honestly, it just feels nice sometimes taking the barriers down.
It does. It really does.
Getting started, because sometimes it's just by the time you get done with all the preparation,
then you're like, I don't feel like doing this now. Now
And it gives you time to like think too. Like sometimes because we're still new at this process, we'll overthink a lot of what we say, or we'll overthink the topic of our episode, and sometimes you just need to get on there and talk.
Yeah.
So
and I think for me it's like the whole, like, by the time you just do all that stuff, you just lose your enthusiasm for it. Right. It's kind of like, when I'm ready to do this, I'm ready to do it. I don't need to have to do other things first. Like, just let's sit down and turn on the camera. And also, I have to, if I'm being honest, the lighting takes care a lot of like the makeup aspect of it. It's really just like the eye makeup, the lighting, and I do have lip gloss on, so but
I think the lighting does a lot for us.
Yeah, I think the lighting is good for my skin. But
honestly, probably a lot of you are just listening to this, not watching us.
Not watching, so. Yeah, right. So you don't even know. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
And for me, honestly, sometimes just deciding what shirt to wear. I don't have a tremendous amount of shirts. I'm actually in the market to get some new shirts, but I just feel like I get sick of picking one out and deciding what to wear. I just wanted to wear what I normally would wear on a regular day.
I just put on any shirt and then put one of my many black sweaters over it, and then that's like my uniform.
Just wearing a sweatshirt and leggings, and that's I like that. I like a sweatshirt and leggings, Not that I don't think I need to only wear a sweatshirt and leggings on any given day, but like sometimes I just feel like throwing that on. That's what I want to do.
And for me, it's the 3 layers because it's chilly.
It's cold
for May. It's chilly for May. It's ridiculous. But anyway, let's get into it.
Okay,
that's enough about
our nonsense,
our nonsense and our non-preparation. Okay. Right. So we were going to talk today about my early experiences with hypnosis.
Yes. So, I guess I'll start. I'll ask you,
okay.
I'll ask you some questions. So, because I was obviously around when we both had our first experiences with hypnosis, I'll ask you about some of what I perceive to be the initial frustration that you experienced around being hypnotized and going into trance. What, from your memory, what were some of your frustrations with hypnosis? Why did you feel like you had trouble going into trance? That's kind of the vibe I was getting from you at the time.
So to start off, I anticipated having trouble with going into trance because I have such a busy mind. It's a busy analytical mind, and it never stops. So, and for anyone who's familiar with human design, if you saw my design, you would understand. So I went into it with that. And then when we were in our class and our teacher would do, group hypnosis for demonstration's sake and all that kind of stuff, I just kept feeling like I can't go into trance. I can't be hypnotized. And then other people would come out of it and say, "Oh, wow, oh, that was great. I was so relaxed. I was so this." And throughout the entire experience, my mind would just keep chattering away and chattering with frustration, the frustration of, why can't I be hypnotized?
I see. So what did you expect that hypnosis was supposed to feel like?
I didn't really know, but I did expect that it was going to be some like really woo-woo, mystical, swirly kind of feeling or something. I thought it was going to be something I had never experienced before in my life.
Like almost like you couldn't help but just like go
Yes.
into some other state that felt like otherworldly.
Yes, right. Like our teacher would just say the magic words and I would just fall into this, again, strange state that I'd never experienced before.
So, what was the turning point for you when you realized that maybe you actually were experiencing trance? And how did that shift how you viewed hypnosis as a state going forward?
Okay, so the first time I realized, wow, I must have been hypnotized is at the end of one class. Our teacher was performing a group hypnosis on us. And when we were finished, it was like, okay, I feel fine. Oh, wait, let me go back. During this whole hypnosis, I kept saying to myself, what is wrong with me? Why can't I be hypnotized? So I'm saying this in my mind. These words are just, I'm talking to myself, saying, why can't I be hypnotized? What is wrong with me? I wish I could be hypnotized. I can hear every word she's saying. Like I thought I wasn't supposed to hear the words. I thought I wasn't supposed to register the words. And then I remember her saying something about getting a good night's sleep because I had mentioned that sleep was one of my issues and all that kind of stuff. And so I said, oh, wow, that was really nice for her to put sleep in there. But, it's not working because I can't be hypnotized. So, we were driving together and we were driving home and it was a Sunday because our classes were all day Saturday and all day Sunday. So it was a Sunday evening in November, I believe, early November maybe. And there were wet leaves on the ground and all that, all the autumn colors. And I remember noticing that all the leaves seemed brighter. Even the dead brown leaves, the yellow leaves, the red leaves, everything seemed brighter. And I don't know, it was weird. It was so dreary, yet I felt like so alive. Yeah, that's it. I felt really alive. And now I didn't vocalize that even in my head at the time. I didn't realize it, but I knew I felt really good, but I didn't really think of it that way. And in fact, it's only right now that the word alive came to me, right? So I felt really alive. And then when I walked in the door at home and I yelled, oh, how's everything going? And Dad said something like, oh, it sucks or something like that. I don't know what he said. And I thought something was wrong. So I said, oh, what's wrong? Is everything all right? The Giants lost. So for a split second, my aliveness felt infringed upon. Like
the Giants being like the football team.
Yes, thank you. The New York Giants football team. Sorry, yes, it was a Sunday. So anyone who's
in November is football
into
Sunday.
American football, right?
American football, yeah.
Yes. So the New York Giants, right? They had lost, and so I was momentarily irked that he would interrupt my good feeling with something so trivial, but I felt so good that it just immediately came back. So then I went up and I sat down on the sofa next to him, and football, other games are still on, or whatever, football's still on, and I'm sitting on the edge of the sofa, and I'm just like feeling really, really alive and really good. And I start hearing myself say, I feel so good. I feel like so good. I don't know why, but I feel so good. Long story short, it finally occurs to me that that whole feel good feeling was the gist of the hypnosis that our teacher did for us.
It was like a confidence, like feeling good about yourself.
Yes.
A lot of kind of general, like you just feel good about yourself, about life and everything.
Yes, and you're confident and you're whatever. Yeah, it was all that kind of stuff. And that's when I realized, wow, I obviously was hypnotized. This hypnosis obviously had an effect on me. I mean, it got into my subconscious and just made me feel, like I just said, alive and excited. I felt so like I kept saying, I feel so good. I'm so excited. I feel so good. And it's almost like I don't remember the last time I felt this good. And so yeah, it was so cool to realize that hypnosis had worked on me, and that I didn't even, not only didn't I not know I was hypnotized, I believed I wasn't hypnotized. I was talking to myself through the whole thing, saying I'm not hypnotized, and yet it still had an effect. And I really believe that that experience has helped me as a hypnotist, because I can relate to other people who might have similar experiences with wanting to be hypnotized, wanting hypnosis to work, but thinking that they can't be hypnotized, thinking that they can't go into trance, and
maybe expecting that it's going to feel some kind of way
that's
in the moment.
Yes.
That is discouraging, because you think, oh, well, I didn't feel that different. So during the trance. So like, did it work?
And it still took me a while to realize that trance doesn't necessarily feel like anything specific, and also that it can feel different every time. But we can get into that later.
Yeah.
If you want.
Well, I mean, we can get into that now, because I feel like we covered your personal experience with the earliest.
Well, that was the earliest
realization. Well, okay. Is there more you want to say about how your relationship with trance evolved over time then?
Well, yes, but even before that, I continued to mostly experience very, very light trance, to the point where it felt like I was not hypnotized. And yet I still would get positive effects from it. So in general, confidence, right? I definitely, I mean, it's not like I had no confidence, but it was more hit or miss, right? And I became more consistently confident. I had created some recordings for myself. We practicing with each other and stuff. We did plenty of hypnosis sessions that involved things like confidence. Also, you and I did hypnotize each other for specifically for confidence, for podcasting and for being on camera. So, hearing our voices, being on camera, not worrying about every little word we say, not worrying about what we look like. Hence, we're here with no makeup, for those of you who are watching us on YouTube, right? And so that we hypnotized each other. Did we just do it once or a couple of times? I don't know, but that seemed to have a lasting effect.
Yeah.
Because that was months ago, and that has lasted for, I would say, for both of us. Would you?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. And yeah, and so I've had other another earlier, I should have started with this one before that. An earlier experience when I was still really only going into such light trance that it felt like I was not hypnotized at all, was a couple of years ago. I don't know, for whatever reason, I don't remember the specific incident or whatever, but for some reason, I just felt fed up with caring about what other people thought.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You remember this, right? Yeah. I felt fed up with caring about what other people thought about things that I say. And a lot of us do the thing where we might just innocently say something, but then later on we think, oh, I hope they didn't take that the wrong way. I want to, and you run it through your mind like, oh, I hope that it didn't come across that way. I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I should have said it this way.
Overthinking it, and then like not even knowing if there's even a real problem.
Yes.
But also not resolving any kind of anything.
And even if there were a real problem, like you said something that you really shouldn't have said. I got hate on my face. Okay. then maybe, you just want to let that go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I recorded a hypnosis for myself so that I would not give a shit what anyone else thought about mostly what I say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was a good 2 years ago. And I was still not experiencing trance where I would even have thought to call it trance, right? I was still just maybe becoming lightly relaxed at best. And yet, to this day, it has stuck to the point where every once in a while, something will cross my mind and I'll say, ooh, last night I said blah, blah, blah. I hope they didn't take that the wrong way. And then I just let it go. I don't keep thinking about it. I don't keep going over it. So, it's like, okay, so I question it, but I do not.
Yeah, I don't hear you like worry about things like that.
No,
or talk about
I don't
like
even I wouldn't even bring it up because even if it crosses my mind, it's like I'm done with that.
Yeah.
So I guess my point is, even in a very light trance to the point where I don't even think I'm in a trance, I don't think I am hypnotized, I still get results. So I feel like that is hopeful for anyone who feels like they can't be hypnotized or has tried hypnosis and got hung up on, I didn't feel any different, and so it must not be able to work.
Do you think that, or has it been your experience that, and I kind of know the answer to this, but has it been your experience that you've experienced what you would consider deeper trance states as you've continued experiencing hypnosis and going into hypnosis?
So, yes, I would say that. The thing is, not always.
Mm-hmm.
My trance experiences are all different from one day to the next, even if we hypnotize each other more than once in a day, or I do 2 different hypnosis recordings or something like that. The trance varies from hypnosis to hypnosis.
And I can tell, as someone who hypnotizes you often, I can tell when you're in a deeper trance or a lighter trance. And I would say also, just though we're not focused on my experience in this episode, I would say I have similar experience with that, where I have different experiences with trance depending on the day, the moment, whatever's going on at that time. Sometimes I feel much more deep, so to speak, and sometimes I feel much more out of, like, in a lighter trance is what we would say. And I think the biggest difference between our experiences has been maybe how we've thought about it, because I don't think I thought of it in exactly the same way that you did, even though I had some similar experiences. Like, I wasn't someone who immediately just dropped into a deep trance the first time I was hypnotized. And some people do. Some people have that experience.
Yes. I mean, some people do. There's some people are classically more hypnotizable than others. And, I have heard some experts who test brainwaves and such talk about, people, a small number of the population being highly hypnotizable and as opposed to others based on their brainwave states. And I guess I would say I don't know what my brainwave states are while I'm having those thoughts, or while I was having those thoughts. I can't be hypnotized. Why can't I be hypnotized? I don't know what my brainwave states were. All I know is that it was effective.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that maybe there's more to the story than brainwaves, or there's so much we just don't understand about the brain and all that, and the mind and all that. So who knows?
Yeah, and I would say, and I feel like there's other people who have this perspective as well, but I've seen so many different perspectives from hypnotists and people in the same realm some who believe, certain people are hypnotizable, certain people aren't, some who believe it's more of it's not that cut and dry, it's a bit more of a process for some people. I would say, based on just my experience with the knowledge of things like meditation, I mean, that's something that you're meant to practice. And
right.
It's a practice. And what is meditation if not going into trance, going into different altered states? It's very similar. And so I feel like if meditation can be a practice, if it's something that someone can improve at, so to speak, then going into hypnosis can be the same thing.
That is such a great point. I think that you really succinctly put my feelings into words. And that is that the more you do it, the better you can get at it. I mean, I'm just basing it on my own experience, because now I am able to experience either a light trance where I realize that my mind is very relaxed. I realize that my brain waves have probably slowed down. And then there are other times, and you can attest to this, where I've actually gone really deep, where I was definitely in theta and have, had the experience that I thought I would have originally, which is like the amnesia, where I don't even remember what you said.
Yeah, I know you just mentioned theta, which is a specific brainwave and a specific brainwave state. But actually, we might talk about that more in another episode soon, because we've been doing some research into the brainwave states.
Yes, I'm glad you said that. Thanks for correcting me, because not correcting me, but
bringing that up
because people might not know what theta is. But yes, the theta is a deeper state. So we won't get into that now.
We'll talk about brainwaves in another episode. But one thing I want to add as well is that when I just brought up meditation as a comparison, and I brought it up as a practice, something you can get better at, there's also the sort of perspective that when you're meditating, it's not about being good or bad at it, but the act of actually doing it, whether you feel, a lot of people when they start meditating feel like they're bad at it because they don't feel different. They notice their mind being distracted. They notice their mind being noisy, like you did going into hypnosis.
Yes, and I'm the same in meditation.
But if you keep doing it, you'll notice a difference. But also that doesn't mean that, like, you had the same experience. It doesn't mean that it's not doing something for you. You just might not notice
100%. 100%. Because I have had the same experience. I'm getting back into meditation now, but years ago I meditated, and I did get better and better at it as I went. But even once I got quote unquote better at it, I still had those days when my mind was just really chatty and chattery, and it didn't allow me my mind didn't relax. And it might be the same, with hypnosis.
And it bears remembering that when, like with anything, when you first start out, if you're not good at it, that doesn't mean that you are not doing something tangible for yourself by doing the thing, right? Because if it's possible to quote unquote get better the more that you try something, then that means that something is happening every time you do it. Something is shifting, something is changing, and it might take some time for you to consciously become aware of it and see it more from a more holistic standpoint, because you have more time and more data and more experience behind you to see, when I started, I felt like this, and I was doing this, and I, as compared to what I'm doing now. But like, the reason that you got to where you are when you're good at something is because of all those moments
in between
leading up to it.
Yeah.
So there's always something happening. There's always something even if it feels like it's behind the scenes, there's always something going on that is changing you, that's creating that change. And it's similar with hypnosis, where even if you don't immediately feel like you've dropped into a deep trance, or even if you, and some people do, and some people also do experience, and these are not, it's not always, you know, it's, you don't always know based on someone's depth of trance exactly like how quote unquote successful they'll be on like the first hypnosis that they experience. But some people have like that, one and done kind of like, oh wow, this shifted me immediately. And other people have a more gradual process. But either way, it's the idea that you're doing this thing, something has shifted, something has changed, and it doesn't have to be immediate in order for it to be taking place. And it's only a matter of time before you understand the full extent of that change. And in your case with hypnosis, it actually didn't take that long, because even when you had the experience of not feeling like you were going into a deep trance, you still experienced changes from it.
Right. That's that. Yes, exactly. That's what I was going to add, is that even back when I was literally in my head during the hypnosis saying, oh, what is wrong with me? Why can't I be hypnotized? I wish I could. Look, everyone around me is getting hypnotized. Why can't I get hypnotized? Why can't I go into trance? And I mean, I'm literally running those words through my mind, and yet having
actual results.
And that was just an awesome experience. And, and it taught me a lot. And I think, if you have had similar experiences, anyone out there has had similar experiences, maybe give it another try, maybe look at it differently. I mean, I think it would have helped me going into it if I had known that even a light trance, at least for me, everyone's different, right? At least for me, and for some other people that we know of also, that we now know of. We didn't know that at the time. We were just starting. But, that some people can get results from light trance. Some people, lots of people, get results when they don't think that they're hypnotized. And each trance feels different than the one before it and the one after it. And
each trance builds on the other one before it as well, builds experience and allows you to build on changes that you've already
put
in motion.
Right. And there's not some specific feeling that you should feel.
Yeah. And I feel like if there's anything we want people to take from this conversation, I think the reason that we want to share this experience is because, well, even not even taking my experience into account, but based on your experience, it's easy to feel discouraged if you feel like you can't be hypnotized or it's not working, and we don't want people to feel discouraged.
No, we don't want people to feel discouraged. We want people to have results.
Yeah.
And I wanted to also have the experience and have the results that I was hoping for my clients and all that.
And there can be such a tendency towards perfectionism, especially in the society and culture that, we've grown up in. I won't speak for the whole world, but I'm sure a lot of people can relate to the feeling of needing to be good at something immediately, or else it's not going to work for you. Needing to immediately feel like 100%, whoa, I can do this thing, or I can't do it. All or nothing.
I mean, I'm sure that there have been many experiences in my entire life where I might have tried something and I gave it up immediately because I wasn't good at it. And so this is definitely not one of those, because it's so helpful. It's so valuable.
Yes. And I feel like it's helpful to redefine how we think about hypnosis, how we think about going into trance, how we think about people who, the clients who come to us as well, for us as hypnotists, knowing this experience means that we're not going to get discouraged if we have clients who express these things to us, which is important as well. If you're working with a hypnotist, to be honest with them when you might have concerns where you're like, oh, well, I was a little worried like that I was doing something wrong, or it didn't feel like I was in trance. Because if you, and as long as you know you have a hypnotist who's willing to work with you and who is open as well about these kinds of things, you can work together to improve that experience, but also to relieve some of your fears and some of your discouragement as well, to make the process easier and more enjoyable, so that you know that you can relax into it. You can just let it be what it's going to be for you in that moment and trust the process a bit more. Yeah.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you want to add from your personal experience or other thoughts that have come as a result of this conversation?
Let's see. I don't think so. I think, we covered it. I just kind of wanted to make sure that I got across the point about not knowing you're in trance, experiencing light trance. Yes, like you brought up about practice, that whole expression, practice makes perfect, didn't come around for no reason, right? That wasn't born out of nothing. And yeah, I mean, again, this is all just based on my experience. Well, not completely. It's also other people too but
some of my experience as well, as I said.
Right.
I have had similar experiences, but
right. But like the early stuff, my early experiences, that taught me something like right off the bat that, was helpful to know. It's just very helpful to know when you're working with people that everyone's experience is going to be very different. And because there are people who just drop into a state of such dreaminess and
really
deep relaxation.
See it. Like you just see them.
Yeah.
You just go right down.
And they just drop and they do feel a certain way. So everyone is different.
Yeah. And some people do have, I would say, based on at least experiences I've heard of, more consistent experiences where they're maybe always feeling like they're dropping into trance.
Yes.
Always,
yes.
And
right.
then for others, it's not the case.
Even though, all trances aren't created equal in a sense, there are people who are more consistent with how they experience it.
Yes. So it's good for both us as hypnotists and people as clients to remain open-minded.
Yeah, and the bottom line is, I'm always saying this, but it is so true. Each of us is completely individual. There's, and even when you read the science about brainwave states, which we're not going to get into here, but even then, even what they measure, they say it's different for everyone. These experiences are approximate, and sometimes it goes this way for one person and that way for another. So
yes,
you really just want to be open-minded going into it, be relaxed about it. Just be easy about it.
Yeah.
Ease and flow.
I agree. And with that said, if anyone has their own experiences that they'd like to share with hypnosis, please do so in the comments, or questions that have come up as a result of this conversation that you want to ask. We welcome that as well. You can also email info@sunflowerphilosophy.com. You can email directly. You can go through our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com, where we have a contact us form. So you can check those out. I believe, do we still have the form on there? If we don't, you could just send it to our email directly. But you can also check out our services.
I think we still have it, but yeah.
Yeah, you could check out our services, Hypnosis.
That's what happens when you make changes to your website.
Yeah.
Like, what did we do?
You could check out our hypnosis services. You could check out, also, I'm a tarot reader, so we offer tarot services as well. I will link everything. If you're interested in pick a card tarot readings, I have a separate YouTube channel for that, Sunflower Philosophy Tarot. So, all the information will be linked below. If you're watching this before the end of May, before June 1st, 2026, then you can get 30% off of any tarot readings that you book during this time. So
in honor of Juliana's 30th birthday, that's why it's 30%.
So check that out. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you in another episode very soon.
Bye for now.